Welcome to Spindle and Spoon Homestead, your place for simple living and hand spinning. Be sure to check out my blog for recipes, tutorials, articles, my shop full of handmade items, and all kinds of inspiration. I'm a hand spinner and I also do natural dyes. I raise Angora rabbits for their fiber and also for meat and for show. I have all kinds of homestead adventures, including a big garden and fruit trees, preserving, cooking from scratch. So I do share a lot of that on my blog as well as here on my YouTube channel. I've got 4 kids, so cooking from scratch is kind of a necessity and a joy. I really enjoy it, but it's a necessity also just to save money and have healthier food and to use up all that garden produce and rabbit meat. Here's a video of me making hummus from scratch, which recipe you can find on my blog. So over Christmas break, we had a lot of super cozy, rainy weather, even some thunderstorms. It was very dreary and dark, but also just cozy and a perfect time to do some indoor projects. The rabbits didn't mind the weather at all. They like the cool weather and they're sheltered from the rain. I've also got chickens, so I have to go out and let them out every day, and this day was just so beautiful and moody and foggy, so I did a little video of it. One of the first projects I did during this Christmas break season was to sew all of my kids some flannel Christmas pajamas. They really needed some new pajamas. They had outgrown a lot. So I took advantage of Joann's Black Friday sale on their print flannel fabrics. I let each kid pick their own print. So my daughter picked these cute cardinals, and I took a video of making her nightgown. I made my daughters each a nightgown and my sons each a pajama set, although one of my sons, his fabric didn't arrive till after Christmas, so that was kind of a disappointment, but I did finish the pants and I'm almost done with the top, so he'll get his soon. I really took my time with these PJs. I was just relishing the Christmas break and the cozy atmosphere, and I wanted to do a good job. Sometimes I kind of do things quick and dirty when I'm sewing, but for these projects I took my time. And I think they turned out so beautiful. This nightgown has a yoke and then a ruffle with lace. The sleeves are these huge, billowy, puffy sleeves with a gathered elastic at the bottom, and these cute little puffy elasticized pockets in the front. I will share the pattern in the description below. This flannel cardinal print is super cute. My daughter loves birds, so she picked this one. Here you can see the finished nightgown, the top part right before I press it all. And here it is on my daughter. It turned out so well. She's basically been living in it during the break. Here you can see the ruffle sleeve and the elastic pocket. One of the things I did was take our turkey scraps from Thanksgiving that I had stashed in the freezer and make some turkey stock using my digital pressure canner. I really like this pressure canner because I'm very new to pressure canning and honestly have been really intimidated to start until I got this digital pressure canner, which you plug in on your countertop and you program it to the correct time for the recipe that you're doing. You fill your jars according to the approved recipe and put the lids on, put it in the canner with the, following all the instructions, and then you just push the button and it does everything else. You don't have to monitor the pressure or the time or anything like that. You can, for the most part, just walk away. So I really like this. It meets all of the safety requirements that it's supposed to. And you can purchase it on Amazon, so I will leave an Amazon affiliate link in the description. It's kind of pricey, but it does go on sale from time to time. So put it on your wish list or in your shopping cart and keep an eye on it. I was able to make 4 quarts of turkey broth from our turkey scraps, just some of them. I just used the turkey neck, I think, to make this batch. I also use veggie scraps that I save up, the onion peels and ends and carrot peels and ends and celery and all that kind of stuff. I save those scraps in a bag in my freezer. I've got a blog post about how to make this kind of broth just from scraps, so I will link that in the description below. Be sure to check that out, because if you think about it, all of those scraps are foods that you would be throwing away, so this is free food, and a quart of broth costs anywhere from $2 to $5 and up. I haven't bought it in a long time, so I'm not sure, and it depends on where you live, but it's one of the pricier items at the grocery store as far as basics go. And if you're making a pot of soup, you're probably using at least 2 quarts, depending on the size of your pot of soup, I guess. But the point is, you could be saving several dollars per soup recipe, which in grocery terms, it really adds up fast. So learning how to make your own broth and pressure can it, or even just freeze it or use it immediately, can save you a whole lot of money. It's a really easy place to start. You can make broth out of any kind of scrap bones. I'm doing turkey in this case, but I've also done rabbit, chicken, beef, and I don't think I've done pork, but you could. I do use ham bones to make soups with because it's absolutely delicious. But any kind of bone could be used to make your own homemade broth. I'm really into thrifting, and I thrifted these sweaters. The blue one is cashmere and the mustardy one is wool, and they fit me really well and were really cheap, but I don't love the colors. They just don't go with anything I own. So I decided to try dyeing these sweaters. I just used RIT dye for this project, even though I'm a huge natural dye fan. I just wanted to do something very quick and easy. So I used half a bottle of denim blue RIT dye, and I put in some vinegar like the instructions say. And I was hoping to get a navy blue and a dark green from these 2 sweaters. And just hoping that they would fit into my wardrobe better. Obviously, dyeing wool sweaters or cashmere sweaters can be a little risky because they could shrink or felt if you don't do it correctly. But I've dyed so much wool that I just feel like I know what I'm doing, and it went really well. You just don't want to change the temperature too quickly or stir them really hard or anything like that, and it works really well. While that was dyeing, my turkey broth was ready. And when I touched the jars, they made this hissing sound that freaked me out. And like I said, I'm pretty new to pressure canning. So I figured out it was siphoning. I did some research. They did not siphon very much at all, and they all still sealed properly. So according to my research, they should be perfectly fine. So that was my first experience with that. But all is well, it turned out fine. Another project on my to-do list was to try propagating this plant that has been growing really well. So I clipped off some sections to try propagating, which I have never really been successful with, so we will see how that goes. A big project on a much sunnier day this break was cleaning my indigo seeds. I grow a lot of indigo in my garden for fiber art purposes, for dyeing things, and I wanted to save lots of seeds so I could offer them to other people locally and also in my online shop. So if you would like to purchase some indigo seeds, I recommend checking or subscribing to my newsletter, and I'll put a link to that below, because I'm going to announce when they are live in the shop on my newsletter first, because I have a very, very limited supply of these indigo seeds. Cleaning them was a lot more time consuming than I expected. I used a little fan to winnow out the chaff, and it worked really well, but there was also a lot of heavier twigs and little bits of clay that I had to work a lot longer to get out. Natural dyes and using them and growing them are a big passion of mine. I've always been into gardening. Even at a young age, I wasn't particularly successful, but I really enjoyed gardening. And it's just always been something that I've wanted to do with my life, you know. And when I found out that you could combine, growing food, and instead of growing food, you could combine gardening with art projects by growing natural dyes, I was like so sold, like immediately, yes, I want to do that. So I've been doing that for a couple years now. I've grown indigo and coreopsis so far. Be sure to check out my natural dye videos. I will link those below as well. I'll just link the section on my blog for all of those blog posts. Indigo really likes my zone and area. This is zone 8B, northern Louisiana. It's hot and humid with a long growing season, and the indigo loves it. This is Japanese indigo that I grow. I use these sifting screen things to get out some of the clay by rubbing it against the screens, and the different sized screens also help sift out some of the bigger chaff. I'll link these below as well. They were pretty effective, although it's not like it gets everything out, but it does get out quite a bit of stuff. Something about seeds just fills me with joy and hope. There is just so much potential in a seed, and it's like life encapsulated. remembered, be sure to subscribe to my newsletter to get first notification of the seeds being available on my shop. Here's how my sweaters came out of the dye pot. There's a kind of olive green and a slightly darker blue. I was kind of hoping more for navy, but this blue does fit in my wardrobe a lot better than it did before. This is my dog, Falcor. He's a rough collie, and he is just the most lovable, sweet, happy dog. I decided to do some styling just to see how it worked with my wardrobe. This is a hand knit shawl. The yarn and pattern are from Knit Collage. I'm also wearing my hand spun indigo dipped tassel earrings that I occasionally sell in my shop and locally. This is a yak shawl that my mother-in-law gave me. It's so soft. Pretty much everything I own is either thrifted or handmade, with a very few exceptions. This is a thrifted wool tweed blazer. It's actually part of a suit. I have a matching skirt. But this cashmere sweater is so light and thin that you can wear it under blazers or jackets. I've also got this suede fringe cropped jacket that I bought used, and it works under that too. I go through a Stevie Nicks phase every month or two. I also have to try a hand-woven Angora cowl made with some of my Angora yarn. I occasionally sell things like this on my shop and locally, so just keep an eye on that. And here's the olive drab sweater. It works much better with my wardrobe. It just looks good with jeans. I really like the fit. It's also light and thin enough to wear under a blazer. We don't get days cold enough to wear something like this very often here, but just in case, you never know when you might need it. I just really don't look good in super warm, kind of autumnal colors, so that mustard color really didn't work for me. It was so pretty, but it just wasn't for me. So I like this olive color a lot better. And it's got these cute button plackets on the shoulders. On New Year's Eve, we made sushi as a family. It's one of those things we can make from scratch that we learned how to do from a friend and also the internet. And it's really not that hard. If you have an interest in that, I highly recommend researching how to make sushi from scratch. It does take a lot of prep with all the different fillings that you can add on. We let each kid make their own roll, and I have to help some of them roll them up, but other than that, they do it all themselves. Here was my roll. It was so delicious. A little unaesthetic, but I'm still learning myself, so. Did you get any crafting or baking or cooking from scratch done over the holiday break? Did you have a holiday break? I hope you had a really good time, and thank you so much for watching this video. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and leave me a comment of what you're working on.